What's going on, YouTube? Back with another video today. I made a video about ground reaction force, and we actually got this comment up there talking about when their lead leg is jumping in the golf swing, they're continually coming off the golf ball. How can we help with this? Stay tuned, I'll help you out. So let me first discuss what it means coming off the golf ball. What it means when you're coming off the golf ball is essentially that there's a disconnect between your body and your head on your downswing. When you are hitting this golf ball, you are standing up, coming off the golf ball. It typically will lead to a thin shot and inconsistent ball striking, killing your distance. And if you're trying to get ground reaction force into your swing, you're trying to hit the ball further. Before I actually dive into how you can get more ground reaction force without coming off the golf ball, I want to give you 3 main reasons that you also may be coming off the golf ball, so just watch out for these in the process. So one is having the ball too far forward in your stance. If you start getting that ball outside of this left toe, your swing naturally will bottom out in the middle of your stance or just to the front of your stance. As you start swinging around, this club is going to start coming up and up and up on the golf ball. So if you get the ball way too far out in front, by the time you get to the ball, that club's already moving up and you're going to be catching it really thin, thinking that you are coming up off of the golf ball, but in reality, it's just the position of the ball in your swing. So you'll end up catching a lot more shots thin because you can't stay down into that shot. Otherwise you'd be hitting down on that golf ball, collapsing your left leg. That's no good. So that's one of the reasons you may. Now, another quick reason that you may be coming off the golf ball or feeling like you're coming off the golf ball is that you're flipping your wrist too early. Same philosophy on bottoming out your swing. If you start flipping your wrist really early in the swing, your wrist flip, the club starts going up and to the left, and then you're gonna end up catching it very thin, feeling like you stood up and came up the golf ball, but it's because your wrists are breaking too early. And the last aspect of coming off the golf ball is if your tee is too low to the ground, you may not have enough clearance to actually get under the golf ball. So naturally in your swing, your body is gonna want to pull up on the ball because you don't have enough clearance, and then you're still gonna be hitting it thin. Now let's talk about how you can actually get more ground reaction force without coming off the golf ball. Now I want you to pay attention to one specific thing that this comment said. He said that when he's trying to get more ground reaction force and his lead leg is jumping, he keeps coming off the golf ball. I want you to pay attention to that one word, jumping. Technically speaking, using ground reaction force is not jumping, and this may lead to him actually coming off the golf ball. So let me dive into this and explain a little bit deeper about how to get this ground reaction force without just simply jumping. In previous videos, we mentioned jumping for front leg golfers because sometimes they need to feel like they are jumping to clear their left leg. But it's very dependent on the person of how you actually want to do it. So now speaking specifically for ground reaction force and how it occurs, your ground reaction force is not just simply jumping and clearing. A swing that a lot of people try to emulate, which is jumping with your left leg, will end up leaving you looking like this, where you never get into your front side optimally to then press off the ground. Instead, you just feel like you are jumping with your left leg, which leads to a floating motion. So trying to get ground reaction force more like this. In theory, if we slow that down, it looks like I'm trying to use my left leg because I did clear it. So in theory, I should be pressing off the ground and utilizing that left leg, but I did not fully load into my left side and press up off the ground. When we break down ground reaction force, this left leg is actually pushing towards that way. My right leg is pushing back this way. That is the motion that we're trying to do. When I push hard on the ground this way in the downswing and I'm pushing hard on the ground here, I'm pushing away backwards and pushing forward that way. This is how you actually get the rotation in it. It's not a vertical jump, it's actually moving your feet back and forth. So actually this happened to me at the World Championships. If I was standing on an ice rink and I tried to swing the club, and I started my downswing, my left leg would slip forward and my right leg would slip back. Insert the video of me actually slipping at the World Championships. You can see that my back foot completely slid out from under me, and then I did a nice somersault. But that was me trying to generate ground reaction force versus just getting to the top and then just casually clearing my left leg because I think I'm jumping. So the first thing we need to do to stop coming off the golf ball when using ground reaction force is to actually load your left side. On your backswing, we need to get that weight transferred to your front side, because then you can actually use the ground and use your left leg. If the weight never transfers and you're still hanging on your back leg, you are naturally gonna float to that back side versus explode with this left leg. Ultimately, using ground reaction force is locking out your left leg so fast and efficient that your leg will come up off the ground. It's not actually sitting here and jumping up. If you start jumping, that's when your chest and head straight up come off the golf ball. In theory, when this is executed correctly, your leg will lock out, creating more hip rotation, but your chest and head are staying down on this golf ball. Your left shoulder will slightly rise up and back, your head will slightly move back, and you'll stay down on the golf ball, but my entire left side is locking out, shooting up, and using the ground to push. I'm pushing this way, ground's pushing back, and I'm clearing. That is how you use ground reaction force and actually stay down on the golf ball. So bad use of the ground again would be not fully loading into that left side at the top, and without loading into that left side, and typically this also could be caused by a sway, because when you're swaying, it's very difficult to then get back into your left side to use the ground, so watch out for that as well. But if you're not at the top getting into your front side early enough, you may even be doing it late when the shaft comes back, if your arm's parallel or below parallel, and then you're shifting weight, there's not enough time to do anything. So we really want to get that weight shifted early at the top of your backswing when the shaft is loaded. And if it doesn't, it's going to look like this. Little exaggeration, but that's essentially what's going to happen. You can see when I slow it down, I never transfer my weight onto my front side. And when you never transfer weight onto your front side, your left leg just kind of floats through impact. All the weight is on your right side, and my head and chest just come up off the golf ball. Now with good technique using the ground, we're going to get into that front side early, load the front side hard, turn and rotate off of it, keeping my head and chest down, because now I'm just rotating back. It's essentially this left butt cheek is shooting backwards as fast as I can. When I get that motion going, you can see that naturally the harder I do this, my foot's actually coming up off the ground. If I was jumping, it's a lot less efficient because I'm not rotating faster. The goal of using the ground is to get your body to rotate faster, to get your pelvis to turn faster, to get your upper body to move faster at the golf ball. So with good technique, here's what it looks like. With all of that being said, I want to touch on one more point very quickly. Some people do need to think of their left leg jumping because their left foot is always glued to the ground and they rotate soft into this knee. So the only way to get them to start locking out their knee and getting up off the ground is by reinforcing a jumping motion. I can talk about how to actually do that, but ultimately it comes back to eventually you will transition back, and how you actually use ground reaction force is not by jumping simply, but by locking out hard, turning and rotating while pushing that way. I hope this clears up a lot of misconceptions about how to actually use the ground in your golf swing without coming up off the golf ball. It is very important when you're using the ground, you're trying to get maximum distance. If your left leg starts floating and you start coming up off the golf ball, it's absolutely pointless to actually incorporate it into your golf swing because it's not going to result in a faster swing, and it's not going to result in more distance. If you have any more questions about using the ground in your golf swing or any problems you're having while trying to implement it into your swing, leave a comment down below. I am happy to make a video to help you guys out. Hope this cleared up a lot of those misconceptions I was talking about. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later.